Hey, what's up guys? Rampedi here. The World Cup is here. And Mamelodi Sundowns, do you really need Maseko? Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
Let's talk about a transfer that's creating conversation. And not Terence leaving Orlando Pirates for Supersport. That came out of the blue. I'm speaking about Maseko to Mamelodi Sundowns potentially. Reports say it's done. They say it's cash. And Grant Morgan is going to be going to Supersport permanently this time around. A young player. I think he's about 20 years old. Had his breakthrough season last season. Lightning quick, off the wings. So people were obviously talking about it. People were angry at Stan Matthews, angry at Supersport, angry at Mamelodi Sundowns as well. And I asked myself, I said, should I be honest about how I feel about the transfer, or should I just be objective? And I thought, you know what, let me be both, right? Let me be both. The honest side in me says, I don't like this transfer. No, I do not. I do not like this transfer at all. The reason being why I don't like this transfer is because Mamelodi Sundowns do not need this player. They don't. You guys have options. You know, why did Mendieta come? You have plenty of options. So why Maseko's going there, I do not understand. It seems like it's a club trying to flex its muscles over here. The objective side in me says, I get it. I get it. I mean, Sundowns, the model that they have, I see what they're trying to do now. They try to get 3 to 4 players of high quality in the same position so that the competition remains high. So that in terms of players fighting for that position, it just remains very high, the level. So that's what they do. That's why you see they've got so many players in many positions. And then from Supersport's front, I don't really knock them because at the end of the day, Supersport United is a football club and it's a business. They have to worry about the finances there. Hence why they rejected the 3 offers from Europe for Maseko, because Sundowns' bid was just far bigger than the ones in Europe was giving. The only thing that will make me happy about this transfer is if he plays. I just want him to play, guys. I really do. And when I say play, I'm not talking about Mkhulisi minutes. I'm not talking about Onyango minutes. I'm not talking about Mutupa minutes. No, I'm talking about Mokwena minutes. I'm talking about Williams minutes. I'm talking about Chalulile minutes. That's the minutes that I'm talking about, because this is a future Bafana player. And also, of course, I'll admit, he's got to work for his position. And Sundowns is not obligated to feed Bafana, no doubt. But do we not all want to see a youngster keep playing and develop in the way that he's been doing? Go to Mamelodi Sundowns, man. Good luck. Work hard. But for me, I don't like this transfer. The FIFA Women's World Cup is around the corner. It starts this week. We have to talk about Banyana Bayana, right? How about we talk to a lady that will be anchoring the tournament?
We have another guest on Playing the Field with Shakes, someone that I highly respect, someone who's used to asking the questions, but this time we ask her the questions. The anchor for the FIFA Women's World Cup this year, Betway squad captain, Julia Stuart. How are you doing?
Playing the Field with Shakes. What an honor to be interviewed by you. Love your work, Shakes, as you know. So yeah, quite excited for this little chat about the FIFA Women's World Cup that is coming up. One of my first major anchor jobs at Supersport in 2019. The scale of the production then compared to the scale of the production now, I think tells you the growth of women's football, the hunger for it, and the excitement around this 32-nation World Cup that's coming up.
Yeah. No, man, there's a lot speaking about it. I'm even looking forward to it. And you know what the nice thing about it is? The growth of women's football is so visible, you know, and I'm just looking at it coming. It's only in a couple of days' time. Are you looking forward to it? You know, I know you're going to have to be waking up early, you know, but are you looking forward to the tournament?
Yeah, Shakes, you know, there's a lot of off-field issues building up to the Women's World Cup, not just with South Africa, Banyana Bayana, well documented in this country, but I think across the board. I think a lot of allegations in the Zambia camp, for example, talk about money. Some players in France, we all know what happened there, Spain as well, the USA themselves. It feels like there's been a lot of off-field issues building up to this World Cup. And I think it's unfortunate, given the hype around the last one, so much promises of money being put into it, of more money, of more visibility in major and mainstream media, that it feels a little bit, feels sad that we're still in the build-up to such a major tournament and on the eve of such a major tournament, still talking about off-field issues. But from a broadcast perspective, and, the show will go on no matter what. We are really looking forward to it. I think I speak for everyone, because 32 nations, it is going to be as intensive as the men's World Cup was in Qatar 2022. So for people like me, that means a second World Cup in the space of 7 months. I don't think I'm mentally prepared for it yet. I'm trying to get in the States. But certainly excitement. And you talk about those early matches. I have one match which kicks off at 2 a.m.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
So my call time for that is 11 p.m. But let me say this now. I am out in the streets still. Okay. I go to the clubs. So I'll just view it as like one of my nights out. I'll nap accordingly. I'll change my sleep cycle. And I will wake up and go to work at 11 p.m. as if it is any regular day. We wake up for the Springboks when they play down under. We wake up for the cricket. And I don't see how this is going to be any different. The times are strange, but yeah, it's exciting.
Nah, man, I hope people that are watching, what you did catch there was the game's at 2 a.m. She'll be in studio from 11 p.m. That's preparation. So I hope everybody's watching. Tell me something.
Well, it's Banyana Argentina. So, we have to. SuperSport is not showing every game with the studio build-up. We're doing, I think, 1 game a day or 2 games a day at most, sometimes 3, I think. But, it's obviously been chosen for our schedule and to fit in with our time across the African continent. But there are some occasions like that 2 a.m. kickoff where we will be at work. So we're there 2 hours before the time. The build-up is at 1 a.m. I think I'm just going to randomly call everyone I know to wake them up and be like, watch.
You don't have to worry. I'm actually preparing myself to get up. But, one of the questions I've always wanted to ask, Julia, is that, you'll be obviously anchoring the tournament. And this time around at the Qatar 2022, we didn't have Bafana being there. But this time around, Banyana Bayana is going to be there. What does it feel like to actually anchor a tournament where, our nation is going to be there? Like, is it easy to be objective in that moment?
Yeah. So what we have on the African continent, which is so unique to us, we can celebrate other African nations doing well. We see it in like league football when you can celebrate a Sadio Mane or a Mo Salah, for example, whether they play for your country or not. And it's quite, we know about it. We just know that we want someone from the African continent to do well. And I feel like when it comes to World Cups, it's the same. So for me, it was very difficult, Morocco against France in the World Cup semifinals, or watching Senegal play England very early on. Those kinds of things, you're trying to bring out the African perspective, but you have to remain neutral because that's ultimately what you get paid for. Now, the Banyana thing is very interesting because I remember hosting, anchoring their first game at the FIFA Women's World Cup. So that moment, it was like Nkosi Sikeleli Africa will be sung for the first time at a Women's World Cup. And I did feel a little lump in my throat. I did feel like I'm going to tear up a bit here. It was more the thought of the history and being a part of it and bearing witness to it. But when the game kicks off, you got to put that like objective hat on. You can't, there's no we's, there's no us's. There's just South Africa versus whoever.
No, awesome, man. That's quite a skill, I must say, because for me, I tend to be very emotional when I do watch these games. But you're speaking about Banyana, like you mentioned, the first tournament that they had, this is the second time they're going to be at a World Cup. But this time around, they go in as African champions. Like, how do you feel about them? How will they do at the tournament, being the African champions as well?
I think in that first World Cup, it was definitely about being there, about making history, about being the first from South Africa to qualify. Now it's a different mentality. There's a level of experience that we saw them step up a notch, a level of playing, which comes as a result of so many of our women being in the shop window during France 2019 and then moving abroad. That brings experience as well, playing your club football in some of the top leagues in the world, and among the top players as well. That allows you to take your game up a step, and they bring that back to the national team. You can tell the difference going in as African champions this time around. They have so much more experience. They won't be overawed on that occasion, on that stage. I don't think. I hope not. And they certainly have more experience coming, whether that be just traveling, just playing, international matches, or whether that be, tactically, the coaches as well, having worked with this group of players, will know how to get the best out of them, what tactics to use, what formations to play, and so on. So I think it's a very different prospect for Banyana Bayana going this time around. They're not just there to make history, to make up the numbers. I think we're going to see a very different level of expectation on them as well.
No, 100%. And the fact that they come in as also African champions, they've got that experience. Even the way that they look preparing for the tournament, they look as if like they're ready this time around. Like you said, the first one was about being there, but now this time around, we know the occasion. Now, going into the tournament, for you, what is our greatest strength going into the tournament, Banyana Bayana, I guess? What would you say is their greatest strength going into this tournament?
Well, it's the fact that we've just mentioned now. They arrive as African champions. They know how to navigate a tournament. They know how to come up against some of the best teams on this continent, in the world, some of the best players in world football, and they know how to navigate that and come out tops. They have that fighting spirit. We all saw what they managed to do at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations as well, COSAFA Cup previously as well. And there is also the fact that experience that I've just mentioned now, of the players having played now at the highest level, moving as a result, some of them, of those World Cup performances out in France to some of the top teams in the world. So it's a team that knows each other well. It's a team that have been together, and a team that the coach also has worked with these players for so long. Coach Des knows probably just how to get the best out of them. So I think that experience level cannot be ignored. It's one of the biggest strengths.
Quick fire with you, Julia. It's quick fire, just quick one for you. Number one being the winner of the tournament, Julia Stuart.
I don't really know how to do quick fire because I want to justify everything. For me, I think USA. They've gone back-to-back. No nation has done 3 in a row. And I think if anyone stands a good chance, it's them. But then there are also other nations. England go in as joint favorites, although they're missing some really key players like Leah Williamson, for example, the captain, Beth Mead through injury as well. In Germany, I think, looking at Germany's group, they have they're expected to finish top. For me, those are some of the standout bets for top spot.
Awesome. This is going to be great. So we've recently seen, so the next question is for quickfire. We've recently seen Zambia stunning Germany, in a friendly. That was quite a surprise. Who is the surprise team for you? Is it Zambia? Is it Spain? Which team do you think it is?
What a stunning goal as well to win it for Zambia in that 5-goal thriller. Okay, what about Morocco? And I'll tell you why. Morocco put a lot of money into infrastructure in their football. You can tell it's paid dividends. In the Men's Champions League, the current CAF Champions League women's champions are a Moroccan club as well. Morocco were in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations final. Yep. Morocco, it's the fact that they put money into the development, into the infrastructure that they've built out there. The just Stade Mohamed Sonk, I think it is. The whole complex that they've built, it reminds me of like a Clairefontaine with the French national team pre-World Cup 1998. So it's just giving me that vibe. And I think we saw it with the men's national team out in Qatar. No one expected them to do what they did.
Man, I'm going to be watching them closely based on what you're saying. The players to look out
I don't know. Who knows? It's a World Cup, man.
Of course. I was actually thinking now, the surprise team is obviously Morocco, but which players should we be looking out for, in your opinion, at this tournament?
Can I just say that I hope the surprise team is Banyana Bayana? Like, I really hope.
You and me both.
But let any of the African nations do well, the Super Falcons and the Copper Queens as well, please. Any one of y'all, we are rooting for you. Players to look out for. I think Alexa Putellas actually, double Ballon d'Or winner. She was injured last season for the better part of it and returned just in time to help Barca win that double. Certainly from a host point of view, Sam Kerr, the Chelsea forward, a lot is expected of her. She just helped Chelsea do a double as well. I think she scored 26 goals or something in the season. From an African point of view, looking at Nigeria's Asisat Oshoala, 20 goals in 19 games for Barcelona as well, considered by many to be the greatest African player of all time.
Well, she's going to be the one to look out for. But who do you think is going to now score the most goals at the tournament? We had 3 at the last one. I mean, who do you think is the top goal scorer for this tournament?
I have no clue because I wouldn't have picked those 3 last time. Hey, maybe Alex Morgan is going to be, she was one of those 3 last time out, and possibly also her last World Cup. And the USA expected to go all the way once again and make it an unprecedented back-to-back-to-back. So she certainly would have a big role to play. I think Sam Kerr as well, because of all the things that I mentioned. She is the talismanic leader of Australia. And Australia, despite being at 7 FIFA Women World Cups in a row, they've never actually made it past the quarterfinal stage. Now they've got home ground advantage. They're hoping that this is the time for them to go past that. And if they are to, it's got to be Sam Kerr that leads the way, undoubtedly. So, yeah, let's say between her and Alex Morgan.
100%. Well, also, Haikana, can you just rock in there with the goals too, I'm going to be rooting for her as well.
I wanted to start a petition for Tembi to go back to the blue hair.
Oh, yeah. That actually could be a thing, right?
I put it on her Instagram, but she was like, just let me breathe, please.
But listen, she just recently recovered from a long-term injury, but I think she will score some goals. I've always wanted to say this, and also ask it as well, moving away from the pitch, I guess. You as an anchor, you've done this for a long time. You've done this for over a decade. I've been seeing you on the screen for a long time, even when I was much younger. I've always wanted to ask for people that want to be in the industry as well, what would your advice be? Like, what is the secret to having the longevity that you've had, for example?
Yeah, 8 years at SuperSport this year. It's unbelievable. I think once you lose your passion for it, then you may as well stop, because people at home can tell. They pay a lot of money to watch live sport, to watch you. A lot of money goes into the production, and you're just the front-facing one. So you have to bring the energy. You have to constantly. I always say this: even if I'm not the best, I aim to be the most prepared person in the room. Like no one's going to be better prepared than me, and that shows you respect your work. That brings the passion. But Shakes, a lot of people ask me, what must I study? How do I get into SuperSport? How do I start? And you are, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, you are the perfect example of someone who's using their platform. Because I think the way we consume sport has changed so much. Social media is part of our daily lives, whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not. It just is a fact that's how we communicate with the world. And I think if you have a voice, if you want to build your voice, if you want a space, there's no better place than social media. I wish social media was this big when I started, especially the way it's exploded post COVID. It was the only way we could communicate with people. So I think people need to use that platform. There's a big space for a lot of different voices. Man, I see so many funny videos on TikTok. I see so many just things where people are doing creative videos or commentary on things that are happening in live sport. And there is that platform. And brands will start to take notice. Broadcasters will start to take notice. That's the direction we're moving in. So don't think about it as I got to be on TV, I have to be on radio. Use what you have and make it work. Oh, man,
I love that advice. I really do. And you're right. Perhaps if social media was bigger back then, people would have been able to use it. And I think it's a tool that's been able to help. One of the things is being able to communicate with you as well. I mean, that is something that I do appreciate. And Julia, I just want to say thank you so much for being a guest. Ever since I've met you because of Betway, I can also tell the audience that she works hard, guys. It's not It's not a just glitz clam. I know it looks that way, but Juliet, your passion for the game is unreal and it shines through. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. Keep going, keep inspiring as well. It's amazing to see that.
I'm going to need lots of luck as well for this Women's World Cup. We set a standard, I think, with Qatar 2022 broadcast. And so we have to keep it up. And wish me luck for those early mornings. And if anybody wants to send me a bouquet of coffee pods or something like that, please.
Awesome. All the best. And I know you're going to kill it. So all the best. And thank you again so much.
Great honor for me to be on Playing the Field with Shakes. Thank you so much to you and to Betway. Bye.
It's time for our weekly bet of the week. The purpose of this segment is to show you my bet slip in hopes that it helps yours light and green. The more accurate, the more cash you get. Let's get into it. How about a Women's World Cup bet slip? Let's go. New Zealand against Norway, over 2.5. Australia against Ireland, I've gone with Australia win and over 1.5. Nigeria against Canada, I've gone with over 1.5. The Philippines against Switzerland and over 1.5. England against Haiti, over 2.5. Denmark against China, over 1.5. And Sweden against our beloved Banyana Bayana, I've gone with over 2.5. I guess you can see from that bet slip, there's a lot of goals that will be scored. My odds, 6.41. The maximum amount that I could win is 3,100. Also do look out for the campaign that Betway will be running during the World Cup. Plenty of prizes to be won. And if you want to win with me, click on the link below. That is Bet of the Week, sponsored by Betway. Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za. Until the next one, all the best. We've come to the end of the show. One more thing. Now and again, I'll be hosting lives on my Facebook page to discuss football topics with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.